let's address the elephant in the room here. Is Zeke dead? Is Levi dead? Because
AoA, that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah. Open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AoA, check me out. Look, clocked in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
what is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AoA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with the boys Isaiah.
Oh, hi, yo.
And Gavin.
What is the Gucciest of the shoesiest?
And hopefully you guys weren't gone for long because we posted our prior discussion to episode 14, season 4 of Attack on Titan. So I'm assuming all of you just hopped right on over to this next one because that would make the most sense. But if
there's no other video on YouTube.
Exactly. But if you didn't, definitely go check out our prior discussion and our reactions on the AoA Reacts channel. The link is in the description down below. We watched the first one. We discussed it without watching this one yet, so we had no prior knowledge. So we theorized there, and now we're here. We're talking about this one after just watching it, and wow, there was some craziness. I mean, it's Attack on Titan, but what else is new here? We get the Zeke backstory. And I'm not gonna lie, up until he like just snapped into like, okay, you know, everyone's got to get euthanized, I did genuinely feel bad about his situation, you know, saying what you want about Zeke in the present time. That was really messed up to see all that happen. There was just such an overwhelming amount of pressure from his father and his mother, his grandparents even, from Theo, the military commander, and from other Marleyans that didn't want to see him exist. There was just pressure. He never had that feeling of being a child, being a kid. I think it's indicative when you see his parents saying, or his grandparents saying, next time we'll read the cat book. And then they're there again. They're talking about the Titans, right? Or his father not playing catch, right? He says he's going to study, etc. It was really terrible to see. It was really sad. And it was really sad to see Zeke really giving it his genuine all and falling short each time, and him disappointing his father. That was just sad, and that just struck a chord. I mean, I don't know for anyone who's like ever played sports out there, or if you've ever had, you know, like a father that was like that in general, that could be the absolute worst feeling on the planet to, you know, to fail, I guess, in that scenario and just giving it your all. And it's like seeing that, it just really struck home in a lot of human elements and in some of the things that kids have to deal with, not being prepared for it at all and not really getting that tender, loving care that they need. So it was really sad. It was incredibly sad. And I genuinely felt for him in those scenarios, but I was really curious to see what the switch was, the flip, and for him to turn them in finally, because it seemed like he was like, okay, I'm going to go with the plan, etc. It was really the former Beast Titan, whose name evades me at the moment. I'm going to call Mr. K. Kevzar or something like that.
Kevzar.
Yeah. Who, I wonder how he got the Beast Titan in general, due to the fact that he said, yeah, I'm not that useful. Like, I've put a lot of it into studying, etc. I find that to be interesting, but I guess that's neither here or there, because at this point,
it is what it is. The prior one was.
Yeah, but that's interesting, right? Because it's funny parallel, or this funny ironic play that they do in that Zeke's father, Grisha, is so adamant about him passing all of his tests and being the best in his class and all that stuff to become the warrior, when not even realizing that, ironically, Zeke, in so much as getting that fatherly love from Mr. K, actually had probably the best case scenario of getting the Beast Titan, because if that guy has a direct say in it, you know, he might, and he's well respected, he might be able to fudge it in every which way that he can, right? Like it's happened before. Reiner got the Armored Titan instead of Porco, etc. So he like maybe had some sway there. I don't know. That's semantics, but I don't know. I'm curious to know anything that stuck out to you guys in this episode, any talking points, because there were plenty of them. And then obviously the big explosion at the end that we'll eventually talk about. But what do you guys think about Zeke's story?
I mean, like you said, it is obviously, you know, it's tough to watch when he's like a kid and he's getting, you know, basically he's getting it from all sides of his life, whether it's from his parents, his grandparents, you know, all the soldiers, you know, which then makes it even harder to see when he chooses like the wrong, you know, decision ultimately.
So yeah.
Just from, you know, whether it's him breaking and, you know, and just wanting an out, to be honest. Cause I mean, that's sort of the talk that I got that Kevzar was preaching here, was that like, it's, oh, I'm not here as a as the Beast Titan or one of the warriors, like, because I'm built for battle or whatever. Like, I just want knowledge. I just want to know what's going on with the Titans. And like to Zeke, that was his out, right? He didn't have to be part of this grandiose plan. He didn't have to be the one who like changed humanity. Like I don't think he adopted the I'm going to save humanity mindset until after the betrayal of his parents, when he realized that Kezar was when Kezar tells him his backstory and how he had the family and that he's basically been trying to atone himself, and then he realized like, oh shit, I had it rough, but like Kezar had some a shitty backstory too. Like I think that's when he started to think like, oh, the world is bigger than me, but not in the mindset of like, I need to do something so that everybody has their own will to decide what they want to do. It was, oh, everybody's out here suffering. Let me just cut the cap off here so that no child has to go through this anymore. Like your child went through this. Like that's why you were looking for a surrogate son in me. I, as a child, went through this like with my parents and grandparents. Like you're right. Like, why are we even letting kids be? You know what I mean? And like that's when the switch turned. Which, like I said, which is even harder to watch because like then it's like now you know why he's here, but you can't like, at least for me personally, it's like I still can't like, I'm like, Zeke, like that sucks and you suffered, but like that's not, this is just bias, but I'm like, that doesn't make what you're doing right. Like you can't take that decision away from people. Again, personal feelings. So yeah, that was definitely rough. And then it's like, it sucks that Grisha, because like I've been saying and maybe hinting at, like I personally believe that Grisha's mindset is correct. I think even if your circumstances are shitty and even if you are being, downtrodden on or what have you, like the best it's going to be rough and people are going to die, but you have to fight in order to make sure that the people, the generations after you, and maybe it's not the very current or next generation after you, but eventually a generation after you can live in peace, but live in peace and have their own free will, right? The Zeke's method works, but it denies literally anybody from any Eldians from existing. He's literally wiping out an entire, like, that's not, to me, that's not right. That's not fair. No. And so again, if it's rough and shitty and it's a scary thing, especially when Marley and these Titans are sort of like this all imposing force. But you gotta fight. I mean, even if it's the harder choice to make, even if it's, people you love die, like, because you choosing not to fight, you give up the last part of yourself to, in my opinion, that's worth keeping alive.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What do you think, Gavin?
It answers our whole debate that we spent a long time on, about a half an hour. Not even an hour.
Because you were saying, I just need to know, right?
Well, no, and honestly, now, like, it makes sense, and that's the thing. Like, you can get into semantics all day, but it's like until the bread and pudding is on the table and somebody's eating it, you don't.
I love how you said pudding. You said it like pudding.
Yeah, I did. It's been a day, but either way, it makes sense. And that's the thing, like, in the moment, you're like, there can't be anything on planet Earth to explain why this is not like that. And that's the thing. And I'm like, if there has to be a reason, it's got to be a damn good one. It was a pretty damn good reason. and that's the thing. I would have, you could add a gun to my head. That would have never came to mind or even a possible. I genuinely was like, I don't know what literally the plan could be to that, like, travesty to be to where he couldn't tell anybody or like feel obligated or like say anything to Levi. There has to be something like grandiose that just like is completely insane, and it was. It literally involves nobody having kids that's an Eldian, and it's like, that isn't something that you can communicate through, and that's like what I was waiting for. And I know we're gonna talk about Eren, obviously, and how he is encompassing, Zeke's ideas, and like, is he following through with them or not, or does he have something else up his sleeve? Who knows? But all I know moving forward is I'm holding him to the same regard that I did, in the last discussion, where it's like, I'm gonna try to understand both sides to the best of my ability, and then until I hear it from the horse's mouth, like, I need that explanation, because unless I have that, dude, like, if anything, just learning from this episode what I did compared to the last really solidifies that you can go on about it, but you're going to give yourself a hemorrhage and probably get nowhere even close until you get the real answer, where it's like, bro, this is like, what? How? Like, why? Like, it's just like it's insane. And, that's all I could say about it is, like, this show just, like, You're insignificant. I'm an insignificant viewer. I don't know anything. I'm stupid and I'm gonna cry. All right, you're not allowed to have kids. I'm ending it right now. We're Zeke. All right, let's go. Let's kill them all. Kill them all, bro.
All I'm saying, number one, Eren being along with Zeke's plan is fake news. Okay, I don't believe that for a second. Or I'm just gonna be very upset if that is the case. Let's just put it that way. I will be extremely upset and my day will be ruined. But to go back to the Zeke thing for a second, it's so sad to see. I said this in the reaction video because we kind of splurged for a couple minutes after the reaction. Can you blame us? But it was really sad to see Zeke go into this nihilistic mindset, because that's when you know it's this eradication of hope and this I'm going to play God scenario and there is no sense in fighting. It's really sad to see, because I am personally of the mindset that, or I'd like to at least believe that I am, that I believe that rather than adding to the suffering, you know, in that sense of, you know, exterminate everyone, don't even get anyone a chance. I think working towards the highest good in fighting for freedom or whatever the case is the better ideal. Now, granted, I'm not Zeke, so it's easy for me to say that sitting at this podcast table right now, when none of us here have actually been through like actual suffering, right? It might really shake the foundations of your worldview. So I don't know at the end of the day, but I know seeing it from an outside lens, it's very sad at the end of the day to see it. And I would love to have seen Zeke obviously take an alternative path, but unfortunately for him, he thinks all hope is extinguished. So he's going about his incredibly terrifying way of doing it, which is interesting because Zeke is almost like the mega villain of this story, in the sense where he's like the Thanos or something like that, where it's like, okay, I need to go through, like, I'm doing this noble cause to just exterminate everyone. It's just, it's really sad to see. It was depressing.
It sucks that like Grisha, because again, I agree with Grisha's mindset, but it just sucks that he was so scared of their plan not working that he like lost sight of probably the one thing he needed to keep Zeke on his side, which was like being his dad. You know what I mean? Like he was so scared of Zeke not being able to fill this position, you know, that they needed in this team for this plan, that he forgot that Zeke is a person and a human being and a child first. And like that stuff needs to be cultivated, because the shit you're doing to him, he's getting the exact opposite from his grandparents, and he's getting that same thing berated to him on the streets and basically anytime he's anywhere but in this house. And like, you can't, you know, like, and it was the same thing in a sense with Eren, right? Because the dialogue that he fed Eren wasn't, you know, different from what he told Zeke, but this one-sided approach as far as how to spread this, you know, this narrative that he had made it seem like it was bigger than anything else. And it is, but the problem is like children just don't have the mind to comprehend and adjust like and prioritize like what bigger than the world means, because they don't even understand the world. So to tell a young Zeke or a young Eren that like this is the way the world works and you are the key to stopping it and you need to be able to do X, Y, and Z seems like a recipe for disaster. And I with Eren, I don't cut him as much slack, but with Zeke, I get it, because perhaps, you know, there's the argument of like, oh, well, he didn't want to wait till Zeke was at a certain age, because at that point he might have already been too brainwashed, or he would have gotten too much rhetoric from the Marleyans, so he might have not even believed, and just outright, like, getting him this young did at least provide let these two perspectives clash. And so now Zeke is like, okay, well, which one is right? Because my parents said this, but then these guys said this. But then it leaves it up to Zeke at the end. Like, that's what that does. And the problem is you left it up to Zeke, who, in addition to, you know, trying to reconcile these two, you know, opposing views, was also hurting as a son, was hurting, you know, was feeling neglected by you, his father. And so he had that to sort of coil with. And then him getting that from Kaiser, whatever his name is, and then having that father figure be like, oh, no, you should turn them in. Like, what the Marleyans are saying is like, you know what I mean? That was it. It was a done deal. Yeah. And it's just,
you know, it's like crazy relatable to it. It's almost like the real life connection that I see for like everything that Zeke has gone through in that mindset is like, in a way, I viewed it with like politics in friends and their families. Like, and I'm not bringing politics into this. It really falls on any spectrum. It's like you grow up at a young age, and it's like your parents trying to tell you this is the right way to live. This is the right idea, the right mindset. Like this is what's correct. And then it's like, you know, you go older and you might not agree with them because you're not like at that stage of life that they are. And it's like, if you disagree, some parents aren't cool with that. And, you know, they really like lay the hand on their kid where it's like, no, this is right. This is wrong, no matter what it is and what you believe is right or wrong. And it's like, they can grow up to resent their parents. Like, I can't tell you how many kids on all sides that, or friends that I have that like follow in suit a similar, like, not hatred, but it's like that suffering from your parents because it's like you're not on that playing field. It's like you're just disconnected because of those views or ideologies. And it's like, it's crazy because it's like you can take this scenario, and although as like weird as it is with Titans and those implications, but it does directly to apply to real life and like what kids do go through growing up with different like just with different parents. And it's insane how like that just applies to real life and how it really can hit home, and people do go through this all around the world, and it is not going to go away. Like it's always there, and it's wild. Like when you really think about it.
It's well said for sure. There are so many examples of that where children want to adopt the opposite ideals of their parents just to spite them sometimes. They might not even fully believe the ideals that they're taking up, but just because it's different than what was going there. Seems like Zeke has like really been converted, but that's the thing, is that ideal is the complete opposite of Grisha's, in the sense, at least the way I see it, in the sense that Grisha is like, you know, let's fight for freedom and have this free will, and I think people deserve to go on living. It's a travesty how they're treating people, but it's the opposite, where it's like, oh, let's just euthanize everyone because of all the things that have gone on. It's just really it's just really sad to see. It's and more common than some people might think. So it was really nuts. I am curious to know thoughts of that in the comments down below, what you think of Zeke's backstory and the decisions that he has come to, and your personal take on it. Because I think one thing the show does, I'll say it, preach it from the rooftops, it really has some fantastic conversation layered behind it that could be related to real world scenarios, or just the anime in general, that provoke some thought, or thought-provoking discussion rather. And so I'm curious to know that. I am curious too with Eren here. I know this was the other thing, going to the other brother now. I am personally in the camp that like I said, I genuinely don't think, and I don't want to think, though, I won't lie, that he is in this nihilism, euthanization camp with Zeke. I think there's some sort of ploy. I don't know if I've said this in a former discussion, but I'm predicting that Historia's child is Eren's. I don't think that it was just some random farm dude. That just seems too easy, and Historia has royal blood, so Eren just seems to be on this, like, this keep going forward until I do my plan, but I don't know if it's necessarily Zeke's. I personally don't think so. I think there's like a back pocket thing, and if it is his child, to me, that would go against the entire euthanization plan, unless it's like some super long haul thing. But the way Eren is going about it seems to be like, I have to be the one to do it, right? Zeke almost was like that too, or whatever. So I don't know. That's my prediction. I don't think he's about it, but then that leaves the ever-growing question: what the hell is his plan, right? At this point, is it just to do the rumbling? Is it something entirely different that we haven't seen? I don't know. I'm up in the air. I have no clue what that could be at all. But I'm curious to know if you guys have any thoughts on Eren's perspective, or if you have any predictions going forward with this, now that we saw that conversation between him and his brother.
We were saying it before, but like, it could be 50-50, I suppose. I mean, and I guess I suppose it is until Eren says otherwise. But my thing is, if it is the option that, you know, he's double crossing even Zeke, and that he doesn't believe in the euthanization thing, I just don't understand him. I don't understand why he's been playing along with Zeke this long. I don't even really understand why he needed Zeke at all, to be honest, because if the Historia thing is true, we literally don't need Zeke. Like, Historia has the royal blood too. So my thing that I said before to you guys off camera was, I was like, okay, what if something happens to the royal person of royal blood when, you know, they use the founding titan? Like, what if they like lose their entire will to live or like memories or like some shit that's so terrible that Eren knows that, so he's like, oh, I don't want that happening to Astoria, but I don't care if it happens to Zeke. Which should be kind of dark now I'm thinking about it, but this show is pretty dark. But that's just a theory. I don't know if that's true. And if that's not the case, and the person who the royal blood thing is kind of like he just needs them and they're going to be fine, other than the fact that Eren could now technically control them, it's like, well, we know you're not going to, like, I mean, unless, you do, you just lose your mind, going to purposely hurt Astoria. So why do you need Zeke here? Why have you been playing along with this plan? Because this plan that involved playing along with Zeke racked up a pretty high body count. And a lot of people, excluding the people at Marley for a second, people people who lived here are dead or in jail now and either don't like you or want to kill you. So I don't know what this plan, if you're not part of it, because the euthanization thing makes sense, right? Then it's like, okay, yeah, he's trying to do the same thing Zeke is. Like, it sucks, but everything he's done tracks. If he's not, nothing. He just makes sense to me. I could, even if it's like, well, he believes in Grisha's plan. The only thing like is that maybe there's like another option where it's like, no, I don't believe in Zeke's plan, but I also don't believe in Grisha's, because Grisha's plan does specifically entail fighting the good fight, which in my mind doesn't make sense why you would, effectively agree to and endorse this infighting that's going on with the military, because they're your military, like they're your army. When the world comes knocking on the island's door, like they're the only thing you've got. You have the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan, but you're not just going up against Marley, who has all the other remaining Titans. You're going up against the rest of the world, and like it doesn't track in my mind unless like you are 100% positive that you can win without them. Why you would cast them aside? It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and especially like Armin, because he's effectively casting him aside with that conversation that they had, and it's like I feel like that's just someone you need, regardless if that is like your goal and your end game. But I also do toy with the idea with Ian, where I don't know till it comes from Eren himself, but I can't help but think like. We kind of talked about it a little bit off camera, but if this child that Historia is having with, or if it's Eren's child, I can't help but feel that if that is true, and that's already like a stretch, then there is a reason why he is having a kid with Historia, and that would have to be for the royal blood. And in my mind, I feel like the only connection you can have is if you plan on passing down your Titan to this kid, because it's the only way for him to pass on the royal blood to someone in a Titan. That would be his son. So like that's the only like actual reason I feel like he would have a child with her in general, because effectively it would also take in your idea where if you use someone with the founding blood, to do these things, something physically happens to him. So the only way to alleviate that, if you can't use Zeke at this point, would be to have a kid and then have him, consume Eren, get all these abilities, and then have to carry on Eren's plan. And that's assuming that Eren doesn't wipe the slate clean in just his existence. He has to rely on the next generation. And with that mindset, I can't help but also think if it turns into another where he's the Grisha of his son, where he's so fixated on, oh, you have this blood, you need to follow this plan, it is on you. It's the same pressure that Zeke went through and that Grisha put on him, and it's like it's reliving that same memory and that same existence where it's like you're leaving it all on this kid, not really like giving him a proper childhood like he deserves, and leaving everything on him. And then it's like that's just where the hand is laying. And as odd as it sounds, that's like the only route I can see happening, or like that would make sense with him having a kid with her, for in that sense. But other than that, dude, I don't know where he swings. Like it's so up in the air, and he's so depressed all the time, and it's like with Ian, there's a part of me who just doesn't want him to be a part of Zeke's plan. But then again, it's like you run through all the scenarios and everything that's happening, and it's like none of it just none of it connects.
I need answers.
You need answers.
I need freaking answers.
It's crazy.
It's so weird too that this is like a generational battle, right? Where it's like one group of people will start the fight or continue fighting, and then leave it up to like the next generation. Like, all right, pick up the torch and go over there and kill those people for us. But it's like, dude, they're not like under the obligation to do that. Like the one thing that it seems like, whether we're talking about Grisha, Zeke's grandparents, Zeke, Eren, any of these people who like are trying to enforce these ideas now on people, it's like, dude, like they have the right to say no. Like, you know what I mean? If Eren did have a kid for the sole purpose of like, all right, now you need to continue this generation, like that kid does not have to do that. He doesn't have to want to do that.
Yeah.
And once you're dead, he can just not do that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird that, you know, you would, because I guess like, you know, with the stakes as high as they are, again, I get like where Grisha's fear came from, but with the stakes as high as they are, you forgetting to maintain Zeke's humanity as a child, like, is why he turned on
It's
you.
the irony in it.
Yeah, it's
the
like
whole
I
irony
I
in
could
it.
almost, I don't want to say 100%, but I can almost promise you that Zeke would have had your back had you been a dad first and told him about this plan second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so. Oh my god, it's like all the hindsight that we see, and it's like, dude, if you could just do this, but it's so easy from the outside looking in. But it's being in those scenarios, you can't even imagine it because there's fantastical elements of Titans and all that kind of crap. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be. I need answers. Like I just need answers. That's really it. I need to know the backdrop here. And I'm also curious as to know, I guess they don't know how the reaction will be if they touch exactly. Like they need to have a perfect storm of scenarios because they saw each other in the district of Marley, right? In the Eldian ghetto district.
Mm-hmm.
So like theoretically, you think like, could they touch and you know what I mean? Like
I think so, because that's why Zeke was like, oh, I don't think it's right for us to touch or shake hands just yet.
Yeah.
I think
so
like
I guess
if
they're
they
like they don't know what's
like,
gonna go down.
They don't know if it's like the second they touch, like
Yeah.
is it gonna just enter fucking, you know, mind state or whatever. But
Yeah.
I would assume so. Otherwise, Zeke, I don't see why he would have a problem shaking his hand.
True. Yeah. So yeah, Zeke knows a lot about these Titans too, and I'm curious to know how much he passed on to Eren, because now that Zeke might not be in the picture anymore, given the end of this episode, I want to get like the whole backdrop 411 on these Titans and everything. Like I just need to know these answers.
And, well, that's the other thing. The 411 on like the rule of how the Titan passing works. If a Titan user dies, like, and doesn't,
I need to know everything. Yeah, I need the
like,
handbook here.
How
and
in the game is that? Does it matter? Because like, again, we were saying off camera, like we don't really need the Beast Titan. It's like Zeke's main priority here was that he had royal blood.
Yeah,
it wasn't even that he had the Beast Titan, because the Beast Titan is kind of just another Titan.
Sure.
You know, which if we have a story, it's like,
I need a whole episode dedicated to them going through the gamut of all of the different Titan questions that we have and answering all of them. That's all I'm asking for.
And also for Eren to apologize to Mikasa and all that. Because that'd be nice.
I don't know what's happening.
To be honest, that was just rude.
I don't know what's happening.
Just socked his homie in the face like that.
Yeah, Armin
and
got
like,
an ass beat,
it's just
dude.
disrespectful.
Yeah, that was crazy. So let's address the elephant in the room here. Is Zeke dead? Is Levi dead?
Zeke's dead. Levi's not dead. It's no elephant in the room. What's happening here?
Dude, that was wild at the end because we were having this discussion in the last one, and it was like, oh, you know, going off of these assumptions, right? Of people doing this, people doing that. It's like Levi, you know, you think it again in hindsight. Why would you put a live missile in the back of your freaking horse carriage? But then you think about it again, it's like, well, in hindsight, that looks crazy that he did that. But you're like, yeah, how the hell is he expecting that Zeke is all of a sudden just going to blow himself up for the cause here? Yeah. That just blew my mind. I was like,
that was a 180. Zeke went from like this calm, cool, like I got the plan to like, fuck it, nothing matters. And like, it's like Levi's face. He's like, what the fuck is happening? This is not the Zeke that's been here the whole time. Okay. Yeah. It's so funny that like this whole thing with like Levi and Zeke, it's like, the circumstance we're at right now, where this fucking carriage exploded and both of them were affected by it, is like all because in both of their planning, neither one of them was like, what if this nigga's actually crazy? like Zeke never considered like, what if Levi's actually the GOAT and can take on 30 Titans at once and then comes for my neck? And then Levi was like, what if this nigga doesn't blow himself? Like, you know, now we're here. Now the carriage exploded. Everyone's plans gone to shit. I don't even know what Eren's doing. Like, it's just like, fuck, bro.
This is nuts. This is crazy. And I don't know if we were talking about this whole Eren thing, if, you know, because you think, okay, if Zeke's toast, literally, what does Eren do about that, right? How do you go on with the plan? And I wonder if he was on Zeke's plan, if the other reason for having the child with the story or whatever, if it was like the plan B for that, right? If he's like, oh, it's all right, I got Historia. I don't know, but Zeke's out of the picture, and I'm assuming Zeke, that was a very emotional thing for Zeke. So to be fair, as smart as you are, you can always crack with that, and you can make a wrong move, like, you know, blowing yourself up with a missile lodged in your spine, when you really shouldn't have done that. But I'd have to assume that, Zeke, I don't think he should have done that, but I would have to assume that Zeke, so willingly able to blow himself up and be like, "Are you watching?" thinks that he fully trusts that Eren's going to be able to fulfill whatever his plan was, provided Eren's on board with it. Because it seemed, being that was your sole salvation, right? You were the sole salvation. That was your sole purpose. You know, I would figure that he would find any conniving, scheming way possible to try and finagle himself out of that scenario, to then be like, all I got to do is touch Eren. I could take any beating that I need to. Like, I've been through the gamut. Then all I need to do is that. I don't know, unless that really was that emotional where he just cracked in that moment.
In his head, he's like, okay, the soul salvation is Eren now. Because remember, they had that conversation, and you sort of like see Zeke cry when Eren reaffirms what Zeke believes, and he's like, oh, I think I can trust this guy. But it's like, Eren's a pretty good actor, bro. Like, trust is not like innately a two-way street. Zeke may trust Eren, but that does not mean Eren trusts Zeke. And it's like, you know, Zeke might have just died for not, like, you know, he might have just blown himself up, and Eren's like, damn, that's rough. Anyway, you know, let me go on doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like we said, it depends on what Eren's actual goal is. If it is something different than Zeke's, because if it is the same as Zeke's, who knows? It might be the same thing as Zeke's, and him learning that Zeke is dead, he's like, oh, now I got it. Like, you know what I mean? He might get like fucking reinvigorated to do this thing. I don't know, dude. I can't.
That was wild. He just blew himself up like that.
I can't. I got no answers for Eren anymore. I just don't know where his head's at. I don't know what he wants to do. I don't know why he wants to do anything. He's just being so mean to people, bro.
The show feels like we're a fish in a bowl, and someone's just like shaking it violently. Just like, what's going on?
And there's like no off button. It's just like only settings to up the intensity of the shaking.
We were joking around because you're like, dude, I feel like you're the kind of person that like lights candles before and, you know, before each episode. And I'm like, but I feel like y'all understand it, right? It's like you guys are probably in the same boat. I feel like you just need to mentally and physically just prepare and emotionally.
But I feel like it doesn't matter, because as much as I would like sit in front of it and be like, I can take this.
By and then the end, I'm like, comes to the
I'm like fucking banging shit. I'm throwing my head into a wall, and it's like it doesn't matter how the show will hit you. It will hurt you. It doesn't even matter how well prepared you are.
What do you think about the last scene, Gavin? Just to get your thoughts on it.
I'm kind of in a similar mindset. I feel like it would be weird if Zeke was alive, just given his farewell speech before he blew himself up, and like. It just seemed very desperate, to where it's like if he knew he had a modicum of a chance to survive, like I just feel like we wouldn't have gotten that emotion from him when, you know, seemingly killing himself. So I'm in the boat that he's dead, and it would be really awkward if he wasn't. Like, really, really awkward.
I already wrote his will out.
I wrote his will. I messaged his parents. I don't care if they're dead. I talked to Jesus. You know, that was horrible. But either way, it's like I just feel like it'd be really weird if he was alive. So I'm writing him off as dead. If not, I'm gonna be a little skeeved out and probably not about it. When it comes to Levi, I mean, it's Levi. There's no way this dog's dead. I mean, I would be weird. Or I would not feel right if he wasn't injured in some way. Like, I feel like he might have gotten.
Oh, for sure.
If he got blown up, lost a leg or something, I'd be like, all right, like you should make the actual like repercussions worthy. Although I don't want to see my boy with one arm and one leg, I do feel like he should like get injured in some way.
Let's make it a finger, Gavin.
Let's make it a finger. I love my boy. I just
I'd like to raise you a foot
because he was right next to him when that bomb. And I mean,
ODM like most of the hair on the back of his head.
ODM gear is fast, but I'm like, is it faster than a bomb blowing up in your face when you have to have the reaction?
Dude, he was like mid like this on the horse. Like,
can we talk about the poor horse? That nigga got lit on fire like 3 times.
They made it a point to make that horse fly through the air going, hey! I was like, dog, you could have just toned that down a hair. Like,
Zeke has a prejudice towards horses because he took 100%. The one and threw it at a house going like 500 miles an hour the one time. Now he lit one on fire. But what a dick.
Zeke's like, look at that weapon on the ground. It's like, what? Chucks the horse. Fucking poor horse.
Dude, it was messed up. Yeah, I could see Levi not being dead, but there being a scenario where he's out of commission, where it's like he can't actually, right? Because then that would make sense now, being that Levi is just such a force of nature at this point that, okay, sure, if he's got the Ackerman thing and he can't attack Eren, like he's gonna just annihilate Eren's whole army, or like Levi's like too strong. I feel like they have to find a way to just segue him out of this fight now. Yeah, to nerf him or something like that. And so like he might not be dead, but I feel like that bomb definitely or that missile definitely did some damage. It would make sense.
Yeah, it's the natural way to like take his OPness out of the picture,
Yeah.
and like you kind of, I don't know. I want my boy to live happy, but dude, you ate a bomb, and like I love you, but like you can't just go eating bombs. I don't care how hungry you are. So you gotta take an L somewhere, and it's like it's got to be in an arm or a leg. I'm sorry.
So
Don't
here's
die.
the other question: do we think that amongst all of this tomfoolery and disagreements that we're having amongst ourselves, that Marley is going to be like, do we attack him now? Or like, you know what I mean? Because like they're just here, and I'm assuming most of them, if not all of them, are chilling somewhere.
I totally forgot about
And
Marley.
yeah, and like, are they just going to be like, guys, they're kind of like really fucking each other up? Like, I say we just like kick a hotel and we just chill, like we just wait this shit out, or they're like, let's wait till like they're just about to fuck each other up and then we fuck them up. You know what I mean? Like, because Marley kind of has the upper hand here, just in the sense that our group now, our worst fear, has realized we are so discombobulated that if anybody attacks us, I think like we're getting it bad, because where we got Flock running the Jaegerists, killing anybody that doesn't sing the Jaeger's praise.
Yeah.
We got the military tied up and in prison now at this point. Eren is, again, don't know what the fuck he's planning, but it's not to get all his homies armed and ready for this fight. So when this fight does come, which is not coming, like, what is the plan for that? Like, I'm assuming Eren is just like, I'll just get this whole Titan thing done before they show up. But it's like, nigga, they're already here. Like, you're out of fucking time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's like you reflect back on old discussions and we're like, all right, they just got back to, Paradise. There's going to be a little bit of conflict. They just got to resolve it, like just nip it at the bud, keep on moving forward. Bro, we are like at rock bottom here on how bad this can go and just flip on its head. We literally went from Marley has no chance in a living hell to even like having an option to like turning any tides. And now I'm here and I'm like, yeah, we said that, and we are regretting.
Take your pick. You want the gold or silver medal?
We're going through some stuff right now. So
especially too if Levi's out of the fight.
Yeah,
That's awkward
that
because
is
now
a
we just
key
lost.
player.
We just lost that weapon. And being that Eren just kind of went through the whole military there. The only thing is though is that not all the military got yeeted with the whole Zeke scream because the range wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
So the only thing that this could be a thing where it's like if Marley preemptively attacks, it unites them under the front of a common enemy in that moment, and being like, okay, screw it, we don't agree with Eren, but like it's either this or we all die. So we're back to a corner here.
I could
so
see
it
that,
might
but
shoot
it's
themselves
like
in the foot.
with this fight the way it is, like I don't see everybody taking that stance, and in the middle of a fight that could be even more dangerous because it's like not everybody's loyalties here are where they say they are, and B, it's like sure that would maybe that's the thing, it would maybe get rid of Marley. Like I don't know, I think even with the things they've done, we've kind of, this playing field has been leveled where it's like Marley could take some serious jabs at us. Like yeah, we have Eren, we have Armin, but it's like I don't know, but then I'm like, where does that leave the end of this? Like when that fight is done, whoever wins, like if we somehow win that, we just go back to killing each other.
There are no good endings. There are no good
it's
endings.
Like, this shit just doesn't end well either anyway. I mean,
yeah. Nothing else in this episode, right, that we're missing here?
no, I don't
Hit the
think
key
so.
points. So we got one episode left, I'm pretty sure. I believe it was
finale.
16. Yeah, they just end it like weirdly and abruptly at some point. One more episode, and then who knows after
my God.
that.
What if this show does like a cliffhanger as an ending?
Oh, it's going to.
Well, like
That's implied.
well, I mean, like next episode's the last episode, and it's like Aaron's about to say something, and it just cuts to black, and like that's the end of the show.
And they're like, no, we're not doing a part 2.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
people
yeah.
would
That's what
riot.
I mean.
I honestly think the cliffhanger is going to land on Marlene making a move.
I think
or
so,
Marlene's
too.
making a move
Yeah.
where it's like you have The Exorcist Part 2, whatever her name is. Was it Pike? Pike,
Peak,
Jaw
Peak.
Titan.
Yeah.
I'm going to call her that.
She's the
she's
car
like-
Titan.
Yeah. Oh, what'd I say?
The Jaw Titan.
Dude,
It's
it's
a whole
it's
different
like,
Titan.
There's a timeline in my mind.
That's
I don't
like a
know.
dude, bro.
It's
It's like a
no,
whole
bro.
nother
It's,
nigga.
you know what I mean. It's the Exorcist Titan. You know what I'm talking about.
Exorcist
It's just she's gonna pop her her long neck out and just be like, and then it's just gonna end right there. Right when they're about to just like give it to Paradise Island, and that's where we're
Really?
gonna. Be
I have
fucked.
a feeling
that's it.
it's going to end if we're doing that kind of cliffhanger where it's like, oh shit, Marley's here, that Reiner's gonna make it to Eren somehow, and kind of give him the reverse flop that he gave him when they were at Marley, and he's gonna be like, "What's up, nigga? I'm here for my kids."
I feel like
That face. Aaron's like, "No need."
I feel like if he tries to do that, though, it's just gonna like fall flat because he's like, "What's up, bitch?" Now I'm in your place, and Aaron's like, "I don't."
Oh,
care."
Aaron won't be scared. Like, we'll have to cut to camera the second Reiner says that. Because then we pick up the next episode and Aaron's a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I'm just here for the kids. Let me get him and I'll go. You can have what's left of Marley.
Damn, bro. Anyway, folks, that is our discussion. Oh, man, that was hype. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this discussion, this episode. Don't spoil anything, but we're curious to hear and read all of them. It's been a wild ride so far, man. It's been a wild freaking ride.
The show's mid, 4 out of 10. Wouldn't recommend it.
Crazy.
You want your mind fucked.
Listen, if you like the video as well, make sure you guys are liking the video so we know you liked it. Subscribing, hitting that bell if you are new here so you don't miss any future discussions or content on this channel, and hitting up AoA Reacts, link in the description down below so you can watch both of our live reactions to Attack on Titan and all the ones prior, and catch our next one and final one for a little while next week. But question, do we have a question for anyone?
Yeah. What is the ability that Annie used to like go into her crystal state?
Is there a name to that? What was the name of Zeke's father figure? What was the name of the predecessor Beast Titan? That's the question. If you made it till the end of this video,
there was an answer to mine. I didn't want to say it because I'm asking them for the answer.
But there's like an actual name to that ability?
The hardening ability.
Right? Oh.
Yeah, that puts them in the crystal state.
I guess, but I just feel like they use that for everything, like brass knuckles. You got like...
That's still the name of the ability.
I love when you guys ask a question because I always think it should be the easiest thing. Like, what's 2 + 2
That wasn't a hard question.
No, all I'm saying is...
They just didn't know the answer.
That was an impossible question, okay?
No, but it's like, it's so vague where like you really have to think about the answer. It's like, just make it black and white. Like,
if you have to think about the answer to that question, you have not been watching this fucking show.
Apparently I haven't been watching the show.
That's like one of 2 abilities that most of these fucking Titans have.
But they use that for like 38 different scenarios, so I didn't know if that one was specific. All right, well, you already answered it, so the question's ruined. So what is what's Zeke's mentor's name? Like, spell it out completely, because I couldn't pronounce it, and I'm actually very curious to know, because I keep on forgetting. Some with a K. And then comment what you're going to comment. We might just read it in our next and final discussion for now of Attack on Titan. But until next time, folks, thank you to our patrons as well. Acolytes of Anime, Stoic, and Nathan. I didn't forget to shout you out. Get out of here. We love you. All right. Until next time, folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. Spiteful prick. And we'll catch you all on the flip. Peace.
Later. Ninjas and samurais, blazing the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly. They like what you saying, Goma got more through the storylines. I tested your neck from the start. My hunters gon' come for your heart. I promise you'll land in my boulevard. Left them in one piece, no curse.